Oops. Good morning, everybody. A little typo there. Welcome to the show. My name is Daniel Garza. This is Put It Together live stream. It's Saturday morning. It is March 22nd, 2025. I want to welcome everybody who's watching. If you're checking us out on Facebook and LinkedIn, do us a favor, share this on your page so that other folks can watch along with you. If you're watching us on YouTube, scroll down, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. It'll let you know every time there's a new show on the air. For those of you watching on Instagram, we are keeping tabs on the page. So if you want to be part of the show, make sure you comment and any questions you might have for our guests, and I'll make sure that I bring them up. This week, we just ended yesterday. For those of you that have been watching this month, it was Colorectal Awareness Month. So if you were keeping tabs of the shows, we had 3 shows on cancer. If you missed those, you can always go back to any of the page, whatever page you're watching on. The replay is there, so make sure you go check out those. We talked about colorectal cancer, anal cancer, and our guests were so open and candid about the information. I really hope you get a chance to go watch those shows. And remember, if you have questions on the replay, I get those notifications, and I'll make sure our guests get the questions and come back to you with an answer. On this week's show, I'm really excited. This is a new friend, somebody new I just recently met. Let me read you his bio. Todd Strauss-Schulson, born June 24, 1980 in Forest Hill, New York, is an accomplished American filmmaker known for his creative storytelling and genre-blending films. He gained recognition during movies like A Very Harold Kumar 3D Christmas, The Final Girls, and It's Romantic, which is one of my favorites. His work often combines humor, heart, and innovative visuals, showcasing his unique approach to filmmaking. He studied at Emerson College in Boston, graduated in 2003, and later moved to Los Angeles to pursue his career. Beyond feature films, he has directed music videos, commercials, and TV series episodes like The Inbetweeners and Zach Stone is Going to Be Famous. His creative journey reflects a passion for pushing boundaries and exploring new storytelling techniques. And I am so happy that he woke up early to come and join us on the show. So hi, Todd.
Oh, hi, Garza. My hair was psychotic. Sorry.
It's okay. It's one of those shows. So how are you doing?
I'm good. I've rolled out of bed 5 minutes ago to join you on whatever this is.
You know, I'm glad you took the time to prepare for it this morning.
Yeah, I thought long and hard about what I'm going to say today.
For those of you that are always curious how I know my guests, Todd and I were both on a panel in Austin, Texas about a month ago, probably, for a company called Inside. And just so you know, Inside has an oncology department. This is how we got connected. Inside harnesses breakthrough science to deliver medicines that may offer patients new treatment options. And I just want to say a big hello to them because we'll be Little Mix Production will be collaborating with them a little more later on in the year. So if you want to check them out, go see insight.com for even more information. So as I mentioned, we were part of a panel, and I have a picture from the day. This is from the rehearsal. By the way, I loved that jacket. I'm waiting for the garage sale to go get that jacket from you.
My jacket?
I like the jacket. It's very.
Thank you. Really pops.
It's not easy being green vibes, so it's kind of cool. Can I talk a little bit about the event and Inside? Sure. How did you get connected with Inside? How did you come to be the moderator of the event?
It was all very strange and unexpected, but great new experience for me. When I was 27, I got diagnosed with polycythemia vera and then just dealt with it until now, 44. And had a great doctor in New York and a great doctor in LA, and just lived with this and made, sense of it somehow in my own body and life. And then last year, my doctor named John Mascarenas, who is wonderful and works at Mount Sinai in New York City, said, "Hey, do you want to be the guest speaker at a blood cancer gala?" And I said, "What's a blood cancer gala?" And he said, "Yeah, Bradley Cooper was going to be the celebrity speaker, but he dropped out. And then how about you?" And I said, "That's the list?"
Wow.
Okay, man, really fucking scraping the bottom of the barrel with me, but sure. What do I have to do? And he said, just for 20 minutes, tell me your story. Tell me your PV story. And you can roast me, make fun of me. And I said, oh, a roast of my doctor in front of like 400 other doctors and nurses in New York. That sounds really funny. And, you know, public speaking is nice, and they paid me a little bit. And I thought this could be interesting. And so I sat down, and I know that I have PV, and I obviously reminded of it every 7 weeks when I have to go get a phlebotomy or get labs and checkups. But I never really had to write out and think through what it has been like to have been so young, and to, and my inner life and the struggle and all of it, the loneliness and the weirdness of being young and having this. And I wrote it all out, and I wrote jokes, and I made fun of my doctor, and I got up there and I did this talk, and it was profound for me in a way that I did not expect, to say this part of my truth in a room full of witnesses. That in a way took this scary thing that's kind of out here, and it kind of integrated it really made into my life. And it was funny. And there's a video of it, and I put it online, and like 7 days later, Insight reached out to me, and they'd seen that speech, and they said, "We love this speech. We like what you said. Would you want to partner with us to make 2 films about you and your doctor, your relationship with your doctor, and your personal story, with this tone that's funny and fun and optimistic and all this?" And I said, "Sure, that sounds interesting." And so I, shot those this fall, and then we put them on the internet. And Austin is when they premiered one of these films, and that's where I met you and was asked to moderate a panel for the first time in my life, and I had a blast. I'm a ham, I guess.
Yeah, I would really like, only because of by the way, folks, I've only known this long, but when you put folks together who have, particularly cancer, let's talk about to get a cancer, when you put people together who have been through something traumatic like that, there's an immediate bond that happens. You just can reconnect, and there's a sense of humor that only folks who have been through something similar can get. And the 3 of us, and I'm not gonna bring up the third person because I didn't talk to her before, but you and I immediately just kind of bonded over that. So I was teasing him a lot, and I really, really wanted to tease you about it, but you really did an excellent job. You were so funny, you were so heartfelt. You really knew how to bring it all together. So congratulations on that. Being your first, you did an excellent job. So congratulations.
Yeah, it's true. They said I didn't know what was going on. I was kind of just following along, and they said, "Yeah, you're going to interview 2 other patients, people that are living with disease." And I said, "Okay, but maybe I could meet them and get a sense of who they are." But I couldn't tell if it was going to be sort of heavy and dramatic and sad. You don't know what and how much you'll be wanting to share. But we did a Zoom. They set up a Zoom, right? Met you and the other patient, and immediately you all had personalities that were kind of like mine, like the opposite of what you would expect from a person living with a hard thing in their life. A scary, hard, life-threatening thing. The brightness, both of you, and me too, the brightness, the loudness, the flamboyance, the jokes, not wanting to shut up, like the life force seemed so strong in us. And I was like, oh, this, and I don't know a lot of other people that have a disease, not like this, or are in this world of advocacy or whatever. And so it was really new and unique for me to get to spend time with you guys, and it was beautiful that you were all so full of energy and vitality.
That's awesome. And then, what a perfect setting too. We were in Austin, which I'm a Texas boy, so Austin was perfect. The city of and again, if the folks from Inside get to watch the show, thank you so much for just making us feel so comfortable, for setting up the perfect stage for it. And anyway, we'll talk about them more later.
Does anybody watching have questions about my hair? Because I have some questions about my hair.
Yes, if somebody could please comment on Todd's hair. Otherwise, Todd's hair will rebel. And well, let's get started, because there's so much to you. And the more that I did research on you for the show, the more stuff I found. And you're way it's one of those things like don't judge a book. And I was like, wow, this guy should like really cool.
Why?
So
What did you think, and then what did you come to realize?
This morning, actually, after I woke up, and the coffee kicked in. I was like, oh wow, he's done things. No, I Googled you after I met you, and I was like, oh wow, this is going to be interesting. He's not just a pretty boy. So, Todd Strauss-Schulson, tell us how you put it together.
I don't know what the fuck that means, but I know it's the name of your show, so I'll just start talking and you can stop me. I think that what that means is, I don't know what that means. I think with filmmaking, since that word is on the screen, I guess I could talk a little bit about that.
Sure.
But I grew up in Queens, and I was like always in love with movies. Even when I was single digits, for some reason, I was just obsessed with them. And my parents were very supportive about this, and they sort of chased what was a relentless kind of creativity. I was doodling on everything, walls and paper plates. I just couldn't stop drawing and watching movies and wanting to look at pictures of movies. And when I was 2, I would cry, freak out. My mom tells me this story, I don't remember, but freak out on Friday mornings until she would put me in the stroller and take me down the street to the movie theater so I could look at all the new posters and all the new words on the marquee. So that's pretty unique. And so that was my only single-minded, number one myopic focus for all through my into college. And I begged and pleaded to get a camera, and my grandfather got me one for my bar mitzvah. And then I tried to teach myself how to make movies. I went to a small high school. There was no arts programs, but I lived in an apartment building next to a video store. And I thought, okay, my job here is going to be to watch every movie in this store from the left side to the right side and not make any decisions, like not choose movies, just try to get through all of them, which I did. Well, but every 6 months they would change the way that the store was arranged, and it would fuck up my whole rubric. But I did it. And when I would see movies, or I was really quite taken by a style of a filmmaker, some visual panache, I would try to replicate it in my bedroom with my camera. I'd say, okay, I see what that is. I counted the shots and I tried to redo it. And then what I made was so different than what I saw. And I just tried to narrow that abyss by myself. No one taught me. And I just tried to learn it myself. And I went to film school. I met other kids like me for the first time. And I moved out to LA after school with dreams to make movies. And it took nine or 10 years of being broke and miserable and struggling. But at least there was a community of people. And then in my personal life, as that was happening, I think I was set up, just my neurology, or I don't know, the things that had happened when I was an anxious person, and my mind could get caught in loops. And so I struggled with that with my mind primarily. And my father got really sick when I was young. My father had hepatitis C and had 2 liver transplants in my lifetime. And so and he was my best friend, and he was incredibly supportive of my creativity in a way that my mother was supportive, but you could not understand or relate to. She wasn't creative. My father was an artist. And so when I was like 11, he got really sick, thin, gaunt, rushed out of the house, gone for months, and came back jaundiced after a brutal transplant. And that, I'm sure, had something to do with the anxiety in my life. And then when I was 26, 27, it came back. So we lived with this specter that he could get sick again. He was healthy for like 15 years, but there was this phantom thing out there, like it could happen again and he could be gone. And so that kind of low grade health anxiety was already in my life before I got this. And when I was 26, 27, my career was beginning to happen. I could feel it. I was getting hired for lots of things, and I was getting better at making things. And he got sick again. It happened in parallel. And there was like this horrible year where he was like falling apart and he needed another transplant. And now he was in his 60s and no one would know if he would survive it. So I was on sets making hilarious comedies and he was like falling into comas. I get a call, Dad's in the hospital. Oh, fuck. And I have to go be hilarious and then go deal with this. So my life started to bifurcate in the very silly, very exciting world of making things and being with hilarious people and famous people and that, but also being in hospital and watching my best friend start to, and so that was intense, very intense.
Yeah.
And he did get a transplant and he did survive. And we thought, oh, and he was we were all so relieved. But his heart started to get weak. The operation was so intense. And over the course of the following year, he began to really deteriorate in a way that was just awful. And my mother didn't know how to deal with it. And my sister was really young. And I did also not, I was too young. I didn't really know how to deal with it. It was just horrible. And he died in alone in a hospital. And we just didn't know how to emotionally process it in a way that was open and, connected. And then 3 months later, I got my first movie. So it was like my number one nightmare happened. And then my number one dream that I had been single-minded about for the last 20 years happened in the same 3-month period. It was so intense. And also in that time, I think 3 months before he died, I was diagnosed with PTSD.
Wow.
So he was in the office at Mount Sinai where he got his life saved twice and where he died, all in the same hospital. And that's where I got diagnosed. And that's where I go every 7 weeks.
Wow.
And so, and he met Dr. John, who's in those videos. And so it was this crazy cluster of events. And then I got shot out of a rocket with a weird new disease, without a father, and with a $30 million movie to make for Warner Brothers all at the same time. And I did that. And I don't think I even knew what was happening inside of me. I didn't feel that sad. I didn't feel that weird. I just kind of made this movie. It was so intense. But when it was over, I kind of collapsed.
I was about to ask, and before we continue, not to make light of this, we have your first comment. Yes, how did you get the cool surfer look just getting out of bed?
I don't know. So you're saying the hair looks good?
The hair, apparently, the hair gets a point today. So.
Oh, cool. Let's do a poll on the hair.
So the hair gets, but going back to your story, we talked about this a little bit when we met. The spiritual coaching that I do, and about the mind, body, and spirit of things. How did you, or have you been able to align mind, body, and spirit to be able to handle everything that happened?
Oh, well, I think it's still a daily practice, but certainly it's different now than it was then. But then I had no meditation. I had no therapy. I had no really understanding. I had no map. I had nothing. I just had this energy and this focus and this family. And I was crazy and reactive and unconscious in a lot of ways. And sometimes I think that was really useful in terms of being able to make a movie and be so, intense in that way and self-confident, but also it was just untenable. I mean, I was inside, it was so much suffering. And so when I was editing that movie, my not really my body, but my mind just collapsed in on itself. Not with depression, but with caught in loops, feverish, probably a little dissociated, depersonal. I think my mind would just get so revved up and caught that it would dissociate me from my life. I would feel really far away from my life. Yeah. It would feel like I'd look at myself in the mirror and what my eyes were looking at my reflection, but it didn't feel like me. I felt so far away from my eyes. Yeah. And that's pretty fucking scary, really scary. And And so I need help, and I found therapy, and the therapist immediately was like, you got to learn how to meditate. And I started going to the gym a lot because, stay healthy with the blood disease. And I just did that a lot. I saw a lot of different kinds of therapists. I went on a lot of different meditation retreats. I started to try to change my life, and it was slow, glacially slow, and lots of ups and downs. And honestly, probably it took until that talk at the blood cancer gala that Bradley Cooper dropped out of until it really felt like it was in my body. Like it's a thing that I know that I have, but it wasn't really peaceful. But honestly, even still, like you must know, or whoever's listening to this, like even still, like when anything weird's happening, when I feel tired or lightheaded, or it's not like easy breezy. It's not like, I guess I'm just tired, or maybe I've got the flu. It goes right to a worse. It's progressing.
Yeah.
It's going off a cliff. It goes right, or as my dad, it goes right to high alert. And so living with high alert this close to the surface it's a challenging way to move through the world.
The interview that we did yesterday was with a fellow anal cancer survivor, and we were I didn't think of a name until after the show, but it's that worst case scenario button. Like we instinctively have one. It's kind of like the Batman, like that emergency call button.
Yeah.
Like we don't want to use it. We don't go to it immediately, but there's a moment where you just hit that button. It's like worst case scenario. I'm about to fall apart. And there's no logic to it. It just happens. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it just happens, but it's not like it's not entirely made up, because if the past is prologue, like there are times that I've completely fallen apart, or this could progress, all of us. And so it's just different. Like I've got tons of friends, obviously, that are healthy and fine, and something happens to them, they don't go into high alert. Then I got friends that do have diagnoses of all different kinds of things, MS, and they're young and they're healthy, but when something's off, of course, their mind goes right to the thing that is the most present. And it's
like the Chicken Little syndrome.
Yeah, but also, being 11 and seeing your dad, it's, so when you say, how do you put it together? I don't know. I guess maybe one of the ways I put it together is, or one of the things I have to put together is navigating that personal history, that's full of ruptures, and anxiety and health stuff, and the feeling that the pronounced feeling that anything could happen at any time, and you could lose someone or yourself anytime, and not have that be the foreground of your mind all the time. That's hard to do, because it's a really intense energy, that survival fear energy.
There's a question on the board for you. How do you manage your health issues while doing your challenging work? I know firsthand how merciless the entertainment schedules can be.
I'm knocking on wood, because really up until now, my symptoms have been pretty well managed. So for all these years, really what I would have to do is get phlebotomies every 6 or 7 weeks and take medicine. And so wherever I was shooting something, I would just find a place to go and do it. So, I shot a show in Berlin for like 8 months, and I had to find a phlebotomist in Berlin, and that was quite interesting, Or I shot a movie in Baton Rouge, and I had to find a phlebotomist in Baton Rouge, and that fucking sucked because they didn't know how to do it. So but the older I get, the more I feel really exhausted sometimes, kind of peaks and valleys. But I also think that when you're shooting something, like particularly when you're shooting something, a kind of adrenaline just kicks in, and you go, I'll just burn myself to the ground for 32 days. I can do 32 days, and on the weekends I will just knock it out of bed, and I can make it 32 days, and then I'll deal with it afterwards. So thank God I can still do that. But I think about it. The last thing that I shot, before I went and did it, I thought, what if I can't do this anymore? Like, what if I physically and mentally can't do this anymore? And that was pretty scary. But the second that you see 100 people looking at you, asking what to do, is something kind of like, charges out of you.
So for those of you who are listening, so I'm going to show you some of Todd's. This is your IMDb page, which I love IMDb pages. I'm going to scroll through it. So
99. That's pretty good for those Dove bars.
We're going to go shopping after this. There's some photos of you, and I'm going to scroll through. So some of these 2024. So this is from last year's stuff. So Chad, it's on my queue. Pitch Perfect. Is this the one in Berlin? I'm sorry, Berlin, which is the one you said you were in Berlin. Is it romantic with 2019? I love that movie. I just love that movie. I watched it like 5 times. It's just so cute. So for those of you that want to see some of Todd's work, you can go check out his IMDb and follow him and do a little marathon of movies. I know this is always a dumb question, but do you have a favorite?
Of my movies?
Of the movies that you did? Is there one that you're like, oh?
Yeah, The Final Girls is my favorite. That's my favorite.
Okay.
That's my second movie. What that movie is, Harold Kumar was the movie that I made right when my father died, and sort of got through that. I was very young. It's crazy to watch that movie and that it even makes any sense, because I felt so insane putting it together. But that's a good one. But that's a movie that has the number 3 at the end of the title. It's kind of a weird first movie to make. And I love that movie, and I loved getting to do it and the people that I got to do it with. But I did feel like, gosh, I would like to make a personal little movie, like a first movie. And Final Girls is my second movie that feels like it should have been my first movie to me. And it is a little culty horror movie. And I was like 34, I think, when we all made it. And 2 friends from college had pitched me this idea that the idea is like, what if a bunch of kids got sucked into a bad 80s horror movie? Ha ha, fine. And I thought, cool. And then, but really the idea was, what if the girl gets sucked into her dead mother's most famous movie? So she gets a second chance to see her mother, but her mother's in character. And she wants to save her mother and bring her mother. And not just that, but it's a horror movie. So her mother dies, and she's sucked into her mother's most famous movie, and she's trying to get her mother out of the movie before someone kills her again. And I thought, oh man, that is a story that it's so funny and clever and meta and all this stuff, but getting a second chance with your parent who died suddenly and trying to save them. When I read it, I thought, oh, this is my life. I'm having dreams about my dad every night, and I wish I could just pull him out of the dream and put him in my life again. And even the dreams of, just like, the dreams would be like, we're just eating pizza. Like, it wouldn't be a dramatic dream. We're just hanging out. We're just together. And I thought, this movie, I can feel this. And so we put together a bit of money and put together a great cast and shot this movie quickly. But I put my whole heart and all of my ideas into this movie. And it feels, I think, the most like me. And so that's the one that I'm the proudest of. And, when that movie like premiered at South by Southwest. So when we were down there together, I was having memories of that, and Quentin Tarantino and Sam Raimi and all of these people like really love this movie, and it's always on lists and it's screened every year, but it is a small movie and it's a cult movie, but you can see it anywhere on the internet. But that's my favorite one.
Nice. We have some more questions on the board for you. Do you have caretakers designated in your life?
It's the same guy asking all the questions. Caretakers? What do you mean? Like a
caregiver, or somebody that like watches over you? Like, is there somebody?
I mean, in a way, I have put together, yeah, like I don't have like someone like a live-in person helping me,
Like
but
when you travel, is there somebody?
no, there's not. But I have a hematologist, oncologist. John is in New York that I talk to if something's happening. I have someone here in LA that I talk to if someone's happening. I obviously have my therapist and a team of mental health professionals in my life that I pay to help me navigate things. So yeah, I've put together a bunch of people that help me, especially when things get untenable. Sure, but no, I do take care of myself. I have to take care of myself.
Because we, as in the acting, I do know some people acting who have conditions, and somebody sometimes travels with them just to make sure that if anything happens, somebody's there to keep an eye on them. And so it's just that. But cool.
Yeah.
So filmmaking, I want to show your website as well.
Hell yeah.
Can we talk about that? Let me bring it up.
Yeah, shouldn't start with it.
Oh, where is it? Where are you? There we are. Sorry, there we go. Can you walk us through your website?
Oh, you want me to walk you through it?
Well, I'm going to click on some stuff.
Sure, walk through it. I love this. I love how this looks.
So there it is. Okay. For those of you who have not seen it, I'm not gonna. You gotta see it. It's just such a fantasy. The little gay boy in me was just like, I want to be her. Like I just want to, and not because of the actors, but just the idea of like creating your dream life, and then realizing that your dream life is not exactly a dream. Kind of like it's not. Is that it? I mean, I guess is that the intention behind it, or?
The intention behind it is that it's like a girl that hates romantic comedies who gets sort of sucked into one, and it feels like a nightmare instead of a dream.
Yeah.
And she's trying to get out, and she thinks the only way out is to fall in love with someone, and tries and fails to fall in love with a lot of guys, and then realizes in the end that the way out is to fall in love with yourself.
It was just, and it hit me right in a moment where I was like, oh. So here's a Final Girls, just a little scene from Final Girls. When I mentioned to some people that I was having you on the show, and I mentioned this movie, some of my guy friends were just going berserk over it. They're like, what? Can you tell us a little behind the scenes stuff about A Very Harold Kumar 3D Christmas?
Well, you got the personal part of it. We shot it in Michigan, in Detroit, and in the summer we had to make it look like it was the winter. We shot it in 3D, which was very challenging. It was a thrill. It was my first movie, and it was really hard, and it was also really, and it was really thrilling. And what can I tell you? What else? What happened during that movie? The big part of it is that I was melting down on the inside, but I was also living my dream on the outside. These two guys were hilarious. Doing the musical number with Neil Patrick Harris was a thrill. Oh, here's a funny story. It's my first movie. So, I had like 30 or whatever, 25 years of like fantasies built up in my mind. And I was like, what would be cool that no one's ever done? I was like, what if lunch? What if catering every day? What if catering was in the style of the scene that we were shooting that day? So like people were really immersed in the movie through the culinary journey. And I was like, that would be clever. So like, when we're shooting in a Christmas dinner scene, they'll make Christmas dinner for all of us, And I was like, great. And the first day, what we shot was a Chinese restaurant with a bunch of Jewish people in the Chinese restaurant. And I thought, that's great. And so I emailed the chef, the catering company, directly And I was the director, so they don't get a lot of contact with the director. And I said, maybe today you could do a mix of Chinese food and like Jewish food. So like a pile of liverwurst and also like dumplings. And they were like, okay. And so on the first day, that's what they served. And it was disgusting. And the producer was like, what the fuck is this? And I was like, look at my good idea. And he was like, okay, you can't email catering anymore. You can't serve this to people. And I was like, oh no. So there was a lot of that kind of stuff going on.
Here's another part of your look at that pretty boy right there.
Yeah, that's better hair than what you're seeing right now.
Yes. So here's some shots from different scenes. So go check out his website. Let me give y'all the link so you can check this out. Go check out ulteriorproductions.com and check out all of his work. And what is
that part of this site is the making of, actually.
Say it again?
The best part is the making of tab. That's kind of the coolest, weirdest thing.
Let me bring that up. All right. Okay, so there you go, guys. There's a bunch of there's a series of videos.
You'll like this. Click on that decoding the rom-com thing, because if you like Isn't It that's like, you know, us doing how we did the musical numbers, but below that is before I made that movie, I watched like 100 romantic comedies and tried to deconstruct what was similar about all of them, and put together like a 300-page visual presentation of romantic comedies. That's truly the work of a psychotic person. That's there.
Talking about your first movie and bringing that up again, do you recall the feeling of stepping onto a set to the first big production?
Yeah, I was pretty nervous and pretty thrilled, but you have to also, it's hard to verbalize it, but it's like I was like super present and completely depersonalized at the same time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how else to say it. Like, I was incredibly present. I was in my mind, I would say things like, never forget this. You're here. The first time I yell action on a set, I want a video of it. Like, we've made it. We've done it. I can't believe this. So like, I was aware that it was happening and how important it was. But at the same time, my body was shaking and my hands were clammy, and I felt a lot of pressure, and I probably didn't feel I didn't feel relaxed or calm, you know, or that kind of an alignment brings. I think I was doing like thousands of takes, you know, like I was just over and over and over and over and over, because I wasn't sure, and I didn't quite, I was confident and not confident at the same time, you know, and it was just a wave of intensity. But over the days, you kind of get used to it and the stamina, but yeah.
The first big movie that I got cast in, we shot down in Baja Studios, and for those of you, that's where they shot Titanic, and there's still parts of the Titanic set on there. And as we drove into the studio, and I saw where "I'm the King of the World" scene was shot, we all took turns getting on top of it. And I started crying because I'd been working at this for quite a little bit. And it was just that moment, like, oh, like other people, famous people have stepped on this set. And it was just like, what? People, some other guys were teasing me, like, you're crying? I said, as somebody who's like still trying to work on his career, like, this is a major step. Like, I have a credit. I have a name on the credits. I'm not just background. So I always tell people now, like, it doesn't matter how little or how big it is. The first time you step onto something, take it in. Take a moment to take that in, because that will carry you for forever. And I don't want to, and when I got sick, when I was diagnosed with cancer and I was very sick, I held on to those moments and thinking, you want to be back on a set. You want to be back on a stage speaking to people. You want to do that again, so you can't die.
Mm-hmm.
Can't die. Does that make sense?
That's beautiful. Yeah.
We have another question for you. Whew, transition there. This sounds like a kind of dumb question, but what exactly is the director of a film responsible for?
The director of a film is like the chief executive storyteller. You know, I think in the best case scenario, it is the voice telling you the story. So if you think about it in the most reductive way, if you've got like a little kid and you're reading them a bedtime story, you know, and you could have a bunch of different people reading that story and the story sounds different. And, you know, some people can do the voices and to make it really, you know, engaging. And some people just kind of blow through it. And it is the storyteller. And so what you're responsible for is everything. You're responsible for everything. You are the boss. And, you know, the way the movie looks, the way the movie sounds, the way the movie moves, every shot, every location, who's in the movie, how the movie feels. You know, you can imagine if you see a movie directed by, you know, Steven Spielberg. Like if Steven Spielberg directed this script and then Quentin Tarantino directed the same script, the movies would probably not be the same movie. They'd probably be really different movies. And that's the director. So it's kind of a little bit hard to explain, but it is the essence in a way of the experience. That's what the director does. And so on the day to day, it's like, you know, from start to finish, like you either write the script or you're reading scripts, and then you have to, you know, you turn it into your thing. You put a theme of that where you relate to, or a feeling that feels true, and you make it shorter or longer, and the moments that you choose to focus on or linger in, and who's going to be in it, and is it visually going to be very colorful or very muted? And is the camera going to move a lot or not really? And if it's going to move a lot, okay, now every time the camera moves, that's a decision, that's a plan. You have to figure every single bit of that out. Is it going to be static or of a big velocity? Is the music going to be an orchestra or synthesizers? Or is it all going to be found songs? Okay, which songs? Why that song? You know? And then it's like, oh, we couldn't get that song. How about a replacement song? Okay, so it's like, it's every little, or it's like, this movie is going to take 40 days to shoot. Uh-oh, you only have enough money for 32. Hey, director, how are you going to do that? You know? Then you got to start editing it down or figure out how to make your day faster. And then when you're on set, if you can get the movie made, it's your responsibility to drive the day. We're going to go fast or slow, and it's kind of up to you how many takes you're going to do. Talking to the actors, getting the performance out of the actors, talking to the camera people, getting the performance out of the camera people, you know, knowing that you have it or don't have it. Then when you're in the edit, you got to sit there for months, a year sometimes, in a dark room with an editor watching the movie 1,000 times, and that take, that joke is funnier, or this story is not making sense. We have to add something here. We have to fix that. And you just are there from top to bottom. It takes years for something that takes 80 minutes to watch while you're texting someone at the same time. It takes years and thousands of decisions. It's a crazy thing to do.
That's really awesome. So we're at 15 minutes to the end of the show, and this is the part of the show where I ask my guests to share some words of wisdom. So,
oh no, you didn't prepare me for this.
I told you I was going to tell you when it was 15 minutes till.
No, but you didn't tell me about the words of wisdom part.
Did I miss that part?
Yeah, you kind of missed that part. I would have prepared something.
So, what words of wisdom do you have for the folks watching?
What words of wisdom? I guess I would say maybe the two things that are the most present, you know, how do I put it together? Maybe the two things is that there's a lot of humanity in humor. And I think that I experienced that when I got on the first Zoom with you and the other person and before Austin, and with my doctors and with everything, that there's just humanity and humor, making light of something, containing it. There's a life force in laughing and making someone laugh and having someone make you laugh. That is a very specific human, uh, uh, completely. It's an essence. It's just like, what is that? And it feels good and it's good for you. But going into the hospital and being really nervous and having someone make me laugh, it kind of diffuses the anxiety. And it's a big part of my life. I make comedies, I'm around funny people. It's just essential. And I think it's a beautiful thing to do for someone, to make them laugh. And it feels beautiful to get to laugh, And so I think that navigating the world with a sense of humor is lucky. It's lucky. And if you don't have one, just be around people that do. And I think the other thing is that it's your life. My doctor, these things that I had to make, that my doctor said to me the first time I met him, he said, managing this disease is all about quality of life, but it's your life. So get out there and live it, as if to say, all of this struggle and psychic pain, all this shit we're doing is to help you have a life. So use it, use it. And so I think it has helped make me in a way that maybe I wouldn't have been like this had I not lost my dad and gotten diagnosed with this. Very not like conscious or focused, but just very aware of wanting to really be in my life and really be engaged with the world and with other people and with pleasure and being interested in life. I think that it's maybe I already was, and this made it more pronounced, but being interesting and being interested is a great way to just engage with the world. And so when you say, when you're laying in bed and you feel like you might die and you remember being on that set, and I want that again, I want to be engaged again, I think that that's just a huge life force that pulls you forward in a way that is really, when it's over, when it's coming apart, and you can look back and say, I was really there. I was really there. And I think that's one of the things that I really try hard to work on, is to really be there for myself, for other people, in my body, in the world. And because I know it's not forever.
Wow. That's, yeah. There's a truth to when people say that from great tragedy comes great laughter or great comedy. And it's true. If you really know how it feels to hurt, the bounce back is you really know how to laugh. And I know a lot of people have criticized me for saying this, but cancer has taught me great pain, but it also taught me great joy. And the joy sometimes comes from meeting people and being able to be around them. We have one more question for you. Can I ask, what is Slati 15? What you have on your wall in the back?
Slate.
Oh, okay.
That's that's everything that I'm working on and thinking about. That's the contents of my mind. And so one of the pleasures of my life is to sit here at my little command station. There's 3 monitors and my backyard, and just to sort of sit here and look over at that wall and be like, oh, that's a good idea. Oh, that's kind of bad. Or maybe I could tinker with that for a little while. And it's all just out there like a map. And so I like that. New ideas, things I've done, things I want to do. It's all there.
And of course, I can't let you go without asking, for anybody who's watching, young filmmakers, young Todds like you in the bedroom, just shooting something on their phone, because now we have the phones, right? But for anybody out there who is wanting to break into it, what suggestion, what little bit of advice do you have for them?
I don't know, man. It seems really hard. It seems harder than ever to break into it now. I don't know what the path is, honestly. It's really challenging out here. Movies, do you even think that they'll exist in 10 years? Have you talked to a 13-year-old recently? They don't know what a movie is.
True.
Like, what's going to happen in 10, 15 years when they're the ones that would be buying the tickets? I think that the trick is to be authentic, but probably these days the trick is to be extreme, like in order to break through, authentic and extreme, like it's the substance or something, just something that is extreme. And horror seems to work. People would love to make horror movies. But I don't know. I feel like sometimes I was the last generation close to it that was able to get in when movies were still what movies used to be, which is that people, that there were studios and people took chances, and movies would get onto 3,000 screens the first weekend, and they would usually make money. And that system is very different now. Or more narrow now. So I don't know. I'd love to know if you're a 17-year-old person, what kind of movies you like and want to make. I feel like everyone just wants to make an A24 movie. So I guess go and try to scrape together $100,000 and make a little crazy movie.
Yeah,
you can do it.
Because I have to admit that there's a fascination now with like social media. You jump on TikTok and people are making whole series. One person creates all these characters and does a whole series, a whole storyline in a minute video. And I'm gonna admit, I love sitting down. Like today is my day off. After this, I'm gonna pop some popcorn later, watch a couple of movies.
What movies? What are you gonna watch?
I don't know yet. I'm looking for a comedy and I'm looking for a drama. I'm in the mood to both laugh a little and cry a little. I'm in that decompressing mode. So I'm gonna pull something out, but I like going to the old classics. Like if I want to really want to cry, it's a Still Magnolias kind of day. There's nothing like Sally Field yelling out in the middle of a graveyard. Why? That gets me every time. And if I want to laugh and feel rom-com, A Good Pretty Woman is my favorite go-to. So who knows? But maybe I'll go check out a Strauss-Schulson production. And
try Final Girls. That'll make you laugh and cry. All in one.
Actually, Christian, who's watching, Christian's my boyfriend. He's the one that's been talking to you. He's the one that said that it's on his list now to go watch. There you go. Funny Girls is on the top of my watch list. So that's my boyfriend commenting and chatting with you. Well, we're almost out of time. Any last thoughts? Anything I didn't ask that you want to talk about?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. No, not really. Ask me anything.
What's next?
Terrific question. What's next?
It's a 2-word question that has some big answers.
Stay healthy. Stay in shape. I'm working on a lot of movies, and I am very hopeful that one of them can get made this year or next year. That would be wonderful. I invented an orange soda, and I'm trying to make my orange soda.
I forgot to bring that up.
Yeah, I try to have a lot of different avenues of creativity in my life, and that's a new one. So, every day I touch my different projects and I try to move them forward a little bit. But
Fizz drinks, right?
Tis.
Say it again.
Tis tangerine fizz.
Tis. Yes.
Yeah.
I went in and found you, and then I didn't bring it up. Okay, tell the folks about the soda.
I live in a house with a tangerine tree in the backyard, and last year I just got obsessed with eating a tangerine every morning, and then in the middle of winter, this old lady came banging on my door, screaming at me. She goes, "We got to get all those tangerines off the tree right now. They're delicious and ripe this week. We got to get them all." I said, "Who are you?" She said, "I'm your neighbor. I planted that tree 40 years ago, and we got to get them. They're perfect this week." I said, "Okay." Just like 7-year-old Mexican, tiny little lady. And we picked all these tangerines, and I said, "What the fuck am I going to do with all these tangerines?" And she said, "Well, we juice them, and you can keep the juice all year long. It's the most delicious tart juice, and you could add it to tequila. You can make ice cream. You can make orange soda." And then something in my mind broke, because I loved orange soda when I was a little kid. Like, I loved orangina, and I thought, I bet I could make orange soda. That'd be a fun side project to be working on. And so I spent last winter making tangerine soda in my kitchen, and as a creative endeavor all over my social media, and friends got involved, and it was a very strange, funny, no stakes kind of creative experiment. And it was fun. It was like performance art. People were like, "Have you lost your mind? Are you serious?" I was like, "I don't really know." And then I did make 150 of them in shirts and hats, and I sold them last summer, and they sold out. And suddenly my joke became serious. And now I am literally trying to start an orange soda business where I make proper cans with a proper food scientist and get them into stores. And if I can pull this off, they're going to be available to purchase by June. And that is
nice.
That is part of what I work on.
For everybody, make sure you check him out at his Instagram, Strauss-Schulson, and you'll find connections to Tiz. I want one of those T-shirts. I'm a T-shirt.
Buy one. I
want one of those T-shirts.
You can buy them on the website.
And that way, next time I see you, I'll have my T-shirt on.
We love it.
But so go check him out. Check out his IMDb so you can find out all of his movies. Make a little playlist and do a little marathon of movies. Todd, I really, truly appreciate you taking the time. Just hanging out with you for a couple of days and watching you just ease through everything and be so funny and warm and caring. And then I was able to do a card reading for Todd, which was really cool because we did it at a barbecue joint, which is, so Texas. But thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate you being part of it today. Thank you.
Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for doing this for people.
I'm going to put you in the green room for a second while I say goodbye to everybody. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. For everybody watching, thank you so much for being part of today's show. We really appreciate it. If you caught only part of the show, remember you can watch this on replay, either on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. Make sure you go over there and check them out. If you're on YouTube, why don't you hit that subscribe button, notification bell. It'll let you know whenever there's a new show. If you are a fan of today's show, we've got more shows for you here at Little Mexican Productions, Inc. On Mondays, we've got the Crab and Goat Show, which is a spiritual card reading show. We got spiritual messages, alignment, coaching sessions, and card readings. That starts at 5 o'clock with me and my co-host, Rich and Wade Kilgo II. On Wednesdays, we've got the Christian and Daniel show. That's at 6 p.m. Join us for an hour of conversations, our life and what's going on in our week, and our favorite picks of the week. And on Saturday mornings, 10 a.m., put it together live stream. What's your story? If you or somebody you know has an interesting story and would like to come and share it, come join us here on the show. What's your story? Come share. And remember, we still have a Grumpy Bunny and the Colors Game. It's a guided meditation book for children. If you would like to order your own copy, visit us at littlemexicanproductions.com. They're $20. That includes delivery. And if you order online, you get a collector's lapel pin and a sticker. But if you live in the Southern California area, you can go by Awakenings in Laguna Hills or Visions and Dreams at Costa Mesa and find it there as well. For now, I want to thank Todd for being our guest today. I want to thank all of you for watching. And this is Daniel Garza saying, hey, put it together. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.